Welcome to episode 13 of Title 24 presented by NBC Sports. I'm RC. That's Ryan Villopoto coming to you live. Well, I wouldn't say live. This is recorded, but nevertheless, we're excited about the show today. But first, before we get going, like always, we're going to thank United Motorsports, Boxo USA, and Quad Lot Case for being partners of Title 24. We appreciate you guys and all of our viewers and listeners. Make sure you check them out. Great companies to be a part of, and we're glad to be associated with them. But it was an off weekend, RV. I was sure it was sure nice to not hop on an airplane Friday and sleep in on Saturday. I didn't do much sleeping in, but I was able to. I did a ride yesterday, a distinguished gentleman's ride, and it's a ride that is backed heavily by Triumph, and they advocate for men's mental health and as well as prostate cancer research. So they do it like worldwide, and it's pretty cool. Great initiative, but nevertheless, we got out on the bikes, and it looks like you're in Colorado, dude.
Yeah, that's right. Gateway, Colorado. So we're out here for a Yamaha Tanneray 700 and side-by-side event. It's about 3 days long. So you're coming from my room inside the hotel here. So it's nice. It's a nice getaway.
Yeah, how was? Are you guys doing a lot of off-road, or is it like what percentage?
I believe we have a pretty decent sized group of people. So I doubt it'll be super technical. But myself, Bradshaw, Damon's here, so he's always a good time to hang out with. And we'll get out and get on the T7s, go out and check it out. The scenery from driving in already has been insane. So that's going to be super rad. And then we'll see, maybe getting a side by side, maybe the new RMAX, and go out and check it out. So definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, is it a dealer convention? Like what is it?
Buddy, that's over my head. I was told when to be here, when to leave, what times, and I'm here. So my job is so far started, and it's looking good. We're on the. I don't know what we're doing. I'm supposed to be here, and I'm here. That's my first box checked.
Well, hey, nothing wrong with that. Assuming you left this morning from Cali, yeah.
Yeah. Flew out of John Wayne around I think it was 8:30. So our typical show time is right before that, right? So I'm like, boys, it's going to be an afternoon show today.
Hey, with the off weekend and then everyone gearing up for Pro Motocross Championship, were you out at any of the Stopwatch Nationals this past week?
I have been. So it's obviously with Florida being like the new California for a lot of the teams and stuff now, KTM, Star Yamaha, and things like that. Not everybody is out here, but there was definitely a handful of guys. I just off the top of my head is jumping into it is Max Voland from what I've seen at Paula and Paris the last couple, I guess, 2 weeks. He's going to be, I know Paula and Hangtown, he's going to be very strong. We'll see once we get to the East Coast when the ruts and things like that are different. Tracks are completely different, but typical Southern California track, Hangtown, Paula or Fox Raceway. He's going to, if he gets off the gate, he's going to be some trouble, I think.
I've always respected the skill that he has on the motorcycle. Like if you watch him, he does some pretty skillful stuff. I think he does a lot of BMX too, right? So there's some BMX influence there. What I know.
Yeah, I think I don't know if he actually BMXs, but I know that KTM free ride bike that they have. I've seen a ton of videos as an amateur of him riding in like river bottoms and like little tight turn tracks, really technical stuff. So I think that's where I see what you're talking about is that kind of comes into play.
Right. So coming off the Supercross championship, and a lot of speculation about, not speculation, but a lot of chatter and talk about what could be changed and to make things a little bit better, safer, whether it's obstacles or races or what have you. And then I saw some releases of some tracks of the Pro Motocross Championship, and one like Redbud, for instance, and just the layout. And it's been interesting to watch the forum boards and what they had to say. And before I give you a word here, in my opinion, like what I've seen all this chatter be about, whether it's there's too many races, or this obstacle needs to be removed, or there needs to be more maintenance. No one really talks about like the speed as much as they talk about too many races or like what I just talked about. And I see these tracks just in general, and I'm not just singling out Redbud, but a lot. You go back to when on two strokes, there were way more corners, tight corners, which in turn slows things down. We were on two strokes too, so we're even at slower speeds. But now when you look at aerial footage of racetracks, I just feel like they're so fast, and there's not as many. It doesn't seem like there's many corners as there was. There's not as many sharp corners as there was, and there's more high speed sweeping turns. So in my opinion, and I've been seeing this for a while now, for a couple of years, and I just kind of just haven't said anything about it. But now with all the chatter, I just, there are things that can be fixed, but at the end of the day, one of the biggest things that I feel have changed is the guys are just going so fast.
I agree. So, I mean, any car crash situation, right? The speed's always a factor in any of that when they look into
Right.
how he crashed, how they end, if it was gnarly, if they passed away, things like that. It comes down to a speed factor, right?
Yeah.
So I 100% agree with Redbud. Looking over, they showed the new Larocco's Leap side of the track. And I can remember racing it on a lights bike, and I think there was actually two more lanes in that whole section, I believe. So it opens it up to say, yes, the track's a lot slower. Speed's the killer. Speed is what really, gets these guys hurt most of the time. And High Point too, like the new changes that they had made at High Point a couple years ago, from one hill to the other hill, they ran the whole thing like all the way down. And, if you go back to old footage, like what you're talking about, two-stroke footage, probably like you on a 125, they used to go down in the trees section. It was very tight. You'd come back across the start and you'd hit the wood board. I never got to race that one, but yeah, to your point is it's not the tracks. Yes, the bikes are getting faster and faster every couple years. But still you can ride those bikes on a tight track. I mean, we do it in Supercross already. So as for outdoors, I think they need to add more turns, add more technical sections. I mean, to reference Europe, they have a ton of tight sections. Like when I was over there,
Really?
Part of the tracks was like you barely fit like 3-4 bikes wide in some of the areas. So very tight, very technical, which slows it down. So if anybody's asking, well, how do we fix this? I would say we just need to make the tracks slower, especially for outdoors. Supercross, maybe a little bit different thing. The tracks are already what they are, where to take up the floor. So
I feel like too, even when you tighten the corners up, I feel like it makes it more technical and can give a better rider an advantage if they're great in their corners, like they're good on their corner entry, they can carry a lot of speed, or they're great on corner exit. I think it gives you that advantage rather than it being a sweeping corner when everyone can just pretty much go the same speed. So that's another thing too. When everyone's going the same speed, then they start hanging it out a little more, in my opinion, to try to get that 10th of a gap. Well, if you have slower technical spots where you can make up, say, a half second or 3/4 of a second rather than a half of a tenth, the guy can ride that ragged edge a little bit less. So listen, all these keyboard warriors and everyone having these great ideas about how to make the tracks. Let's start with the speed.
Yeah, I 100% agree. They need to slow the tracks down. And I think outdoors, for example, what we're talking about now is they have the space to do it. Like I said, the old section over there by Redbud where the sand whoops were or are still, just completely that, like I said, there was 2 extra lanes. So you got another 3 or 4 corners in that whole section there. So that definitely would help to slow it down. I agree.
Yep. No doubt about that. Let's get right into the quad lock question of the week. Good question. It's from Z Wiley. Thank you for being a loyal listener to Title 24, myself and RV. We appreciate you, and our partners do as well. So the quad lock question of the week, Z Wiley says, what keeps a rider mentally focused? Is it goals, ambition, or just love of the sport? I ride amateur races as a B rider, but I find myself burning out at times. Well, that's a great question. And for me, RV, I think, what keeps me mentally focused is just being on a routine and staying and knowing what I need to do and having those goals, whether it's at the practice track where if it was at the practice track that day, I knew what I was going to work on. And then the same at the races. I knew what I needed to do. I know where I needed to be at on the start. And I know where I wanted to be at like lap 5. I know where I wanted to be at lap 10. So I think just being really engaged with what you're doing every single day or every single time you ride that motorcycle or you have a purpose, that's, at least for me, that's how I stayed mentally focused. And I raced my race. I didn't worry about whatever anyone else was doing, because I feel like that, when you start racing someone else's race, I think they mentally got you beat. So that's how I stayed focused. And that's a great question. So that's how it was for me, RV. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think like you nailed one of the nails right on the head, was having a routine.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem I see, and he references that he's a B rider, so he's still an amateur, and obviously, I'm thinking anywhere from 14 to probably 17 years old there, or 18 years old, that he's in that realm of age. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on. Your friends going out and doing this and hanging out, and I think as for your riding itself, number one, set a goal.
Yeah.
What is that? Is it to race Supercross? Is it not? Is it to be the best local pro around town or where you live? And if that's the case, then like having a structured plan for Monday through Friday. So, if Monday's a ride day, you go and you know exactly what you're going to do for laps. Instead of showing up and trying to guess what you're doing. I see that a lot, where it's like, oh, I think I'm going to do this now. Or, oh, shit, I'm going to bust out a 30 right now. And then it's like, okay, what's next? I don't know. I'm going to just go out and ride. And even a bad plan, even not doing the right things, but having the structure is better than doing some things really good and then no structure at all, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's we appreciate you, Z Wiley, and you know what to do. Slide into the DM. We'll get you all taken care of. Quad Lock will, and we appreciate the support and everything that you guys do. It's been a lot of fun. There are some other questions though that I thought was pretty good, and one of them comes from Aaron Jones _17. He says, "Does a season?" And I like this. I love to hear RV's response on this. Does a season like Chase had last year help with this year, or does it add more pressure?
I think Chase right now is sitting in a great position. Had a great, definitely made some mistakes in outdoors, but watching some of the replays and some of the stuff that I've seen with all Pro Motocross stuff coming and surging up through the social media stuff right now, you can see all the battles that they're posting with Chase and Eli. And he rode really well, and now he's coming off of a very, very, high right now with the Supercross championship. And, I think it only makes him stronger coming into this outdoor season.
Yeah. How about, let's see here. Roosted Productions, Tom Vialle predictions. Well, I don't make predictions, but I hope that he does good. I think, hey, he made it through Supercross, and that's hard to do. So I think I'm kind of excited to see how he's going to do. I don't know how good he's going to be. I think he'll be good, because he's a 2-time GP champion. You don't win 2 championships by not being good. So I think he'll do well, and I hope that he does. What do you think?
I think so too. Established guy already with 2 MXGP championships. Obviously there's going to be a big learning curve, I think, in outdoors first season. I think what might surprise him is maybe the pace right out of the gate for some of these lights guys, or, our racing over here in general, I guess. But I do think he's going to be strong. I mean, he's held himself out for 2 MXGP championships, and those are long series, 17, 18 rounds. And he's been in it to win it at the very end. So I think he's got a great shot to be in that top 5 at the end of the season if he stays healthy.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun to see. Definitely him being a good starter. All I've heard about is how good a starter he is. So that'll certainly be helpful.
All right, so Ricky, we have another question here from
Yeah.
Suds334. More
Uh-huh.
of a statement, Honda goes 24-0 in the 450 class.
Well, it'd be crazy, right, to think about they've been on a dry run as far as 450 championships go, but you just have to, I mean, listen, I'm not being disrespectful to any other guys, but there is a legitimate shot that they could win every single moto, and certainly every outdoor. I mean, facts are facts for the most part. And I think that Jett's going to be a quick learner. Just from what I've seen, he doesn't make the same mistake twice often. Is he going to have some bumps in the road? For sure. But then you just go back to how good Chase was last year. And I think what he learned last year, and he's talked about it here on Title 24 with you and I, about what he learned from Eli and the type of competitor he is. So I think that Honda is in a great spot to win every single moto in every single race this Pro Motocross Championship, which some people might think that's boring, but I think it's cool. I think it's fun to watch that, the anticipation week in and week out of wondering, which rider is going to buckle first, or can they keep going? So yeah, I think Honda can win every moto this year in Pro Motocross Championship.
So do I. I do think that, between the two riders, if Chase isn't winning, Jett should be right there winning, right? And vice versa. If Jett's not winning, Chase should be winning. So I think it's very achievable for that brand to go 24-0, for Honda to go 24-0.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see for sure. So, hey, before we get into the meat of the Pro Motocross Championship, let's thank our sponsors, United Motorsports, unitedmotorsports.com. We appreciate you guys. If you're in the Kentucky, Ohio area, there's 6 locations. Pop in the store. Boxo USA is in there as well. So you can check out boxousa.com on their website. And last but not least, of course, is Quadlock Case. quadlockcase.com. Fantastic company, all kinds of stuff. And if you want to save yourself 10%, make sure you use the promo code Title24. It's 10% off site-wide. And all of us like to save a little bit of cheddar here and there. So these are great partners willing to give you guys a great discount. So check their websites out. And like I said, if you're anywhere in the Ohio, Kentucky area, check out United Motorsports. You're doing a great job and some great people there. Moving into the motocross preview, 450 class, we got Chase versus a Jett. Do you think there's any other riders can crash a party, dude? Straight up.
Man, I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I mean, I think we might have a few breakout rides here and there, but as for anybody competing with Chase and Jett right now, I don't see it really happening. But from a fan standpoint, I hope it does. But just the team that Honda's put together that they have for the 450 class, those dudes are no slouches. So I think it's going to be really hard to get those two at the first and second spot.
Yeah, I feel like we're like when we go to Anaheim 1, right? Everyone's like, who's going to win? Who's going to win? And I hate making predictions. RV, you know that. And honestly, we'd be guessing, but I feel like we know that Chase and Jett are going to be the best guys in the 450. But what you and I were talking about before we started recording this is I always like to go in the first couple rounds, especially Supercross, but even Pro Motocross, and just like let guys get situated, see what the lay of the land is. I mean, yeah, I think Jett's going to be great. I think Chase is going to be great. What I'm looking forward to for the 450 class is I'm looking to see how Chase starts off. Does he take that momentum from last year Pro Motocross Championship and then now winning the Supercross Championship? Does he bleed that in? I mean, he fought a hard battle last year with one of the best to ever do it. Came up just a tad shy, but that's nothing to be frowned upon, because that guy is really, I mean, Eli Tomac is so hard to beat. Dylan Ferrandis, I do think it's going to take some time for him to get going. I think once he gets going, I think he will get better and better as each weekend goes out. He's a past champion, so you just have to give him that respect. I don't anticipate him starting out having that raw speed just because he's taken so much time off. So I think he'll race his way into being good and better.
I agree. I think definitely had some time off, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't help you for sure. Also, the new YZ450 for outdoors. I'm sure they're gonna come up with some things that they're like, okay, we need to make this better. We need to change this. I don't think they're going to be far off. But as for gate drops and not debuting, but essentially debuting a new 450 to outdoors, to elements that outdoors bring, that might be something that they're going to have to work around for first couple rounds, and along with himself to get kind of back up to speed, because he hasn't raced that much this year.
Yeah, I think also, for sure. And I think also what, because the field is a little thin and some of the great guys are sidelined for the beginning of the series, I think that it's going to be interesting to see who's able to kind of rise up and get some personal bests. And this is where the SMX, Super Motocross World Championship really comes into play. It's a great opportunity for some of the guys who didn't run up front in Supercross to come out and get locked in, make some good points in the Pro Motocross Championship, to lock themselves into the playoff rounds to where they don't have to race into that, which how tough that's going to be. It's going to be cutthroat for sure. So this is a great opportunity for some of these guys to cash in on some points, right? I mean, I think you and I, sitting there when we were part of that special announcement at the Coliseum, I didn't know the magnitude of what it was going to be until kind of like now where we're at. It's pretty important for these guys to get top 20 in both series.
Exactly. Yeah. And obviously we kind of know the front runners, right? Those guys are, and the guys that are currently have been racing all of Supercross and going to go through most or all of outdoors. We already know where those guys are going to sit, but the guys that are currently benched from being hurt, the ones that can come back, get back sooner than later to get those valuable points. And then also guys outside the top 8, top 10, let's say, because we have guys that are sidelined now, these guys, like to your point of making a name for themselves and getting very valuable points, setting themselves up for those last 3 SMX rounds is very, very critical. So I think we might have some of our best racing from 5th to 15th. We'll see. You never know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward for guys to step up, and it's a great opportunity for them. And this is round 18 of the inaugural SMX World Championship series, so I'm excited for it, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Moving on to the 250, you just have to think that Hunter Lawrence is class of the field. There are some young guys in there. You already talked about it. Volan, he seems to be pretty fast, so I'm glad you gave us that insight. My eye is going to be on him, but I kind of approach the 250 class the same way that I did in the 450 class. I just want to see what everyone has. The motos are going to be longer. We'll get an idea of who's in shape and who isn't by the tone of their riding style and their body language on the bike. RV, you're out in Cali a lot more than I am. Obviously, you're at the tracks. Who are some guys that you think could do well, and who are some guys that you think could possibly challenge Hunter, several weekends out of this championship?
I think okay, so we mentioned Max Voland at the start of the show. He's the last 2, or since I've seen him outdoors, week and a half or so. He's for Paula, or for Fox Raceway, in Hangtown. For me, I think difficult tracks. Hangtown wasn't always my favorite place to race, and neither was Paula. So I think from what I've seen of the typical Southern California tracks, Hangtown, Paula, from what I've seen, Max he's going to be very, very good at those first 2, depending on obviously where he puts himself in a good position off the gate, things like that. But Tom Vialle also riding very well. I heard Hampshire was just out today, actually, at Paris. I was traveling, but he looked really strong from what I'm hearing.
Shimoda.
Yep. Shimoda. Yep. So he also very very strong from what I've seen. I love watching him ride because you'll turn around and be like, man, he's not going very fast. And then he's like doing everything just perfect and doesn't look like he's trying very hard at all. And then you're like, holy hell, this is a good lap time. So,
Hey, Justin Cooper, Danger
Justin
Boy.
Cooper. Yeah. I mean, we got, so it's okay. Put it this way. I guess I'll flip it around. Hunter in the past hasn't been the best starter. So Hunter puts himself 5th through 8th, or, let's say the last Salt Lake round Supercross didn't get a good start, was running around like 8th through 10th. Right. So, and you put some of these young guns up front, you put, that could be, like a Danger or a Max Voland or a Joe. Right. So, Kitchen, Jordan Smith, I'm hoping, for me, I'm personally a hometown kid. I'm hoping to see Levi do
like to see the chef get in there.
That's right. I'd like to see him finish and have a consistent outdoor season and be fighting for wins or podiums every single round. That's what I would.
Yeah, it's going to be that 250 class, like, in my opinion, and I'd love to know your opinion. Do you feel like it is like it's gnarlier from the 5th to 12th place guy or 10th place guy right now in the 250 than it is from the 5th to the 10th place guy in the 450? Like, is it more impressive for a kid to go, say, top 7, one of these younger guys in the 250, than it is for, a 12th place guy to get 7th in the 450? Like, what? Well,
with all of our guys benched right now, yes, it's definitely a deeper
right.
field. It's definitely a deeper field in the lights class.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it, dude. And I don't know how you are, RV, but I love watching these cats just go, like, just melt down when it's super hot, super rough. I want to see what these guys are made of, man.
It's always fun to watch from my eyes, or probably same as you, to see, who's going to break and what kind of mistakes are they going to make as it gets 15, 20 minutes into the moto. It's hot, it's getting rough. The track's deteriorating and things like that. So that's what outdoors is. I think that's what makes outdoors so special is you not only do you have to be fast, but you have to have the grit and determination to keep fighting. And even if it's not fighting with another rider, it's fighting yourself to keep pushing at that pace with that heat. Southwick, another gnarly track, right? The lower back starts to go out. I think that's probably one of the toughest tracks on the circuit. Everybody's like, oh, it's nothing like Europe, the sand, but dude, Southwick's so slippery. Like, it's one of the hardest places to ride at speed.
Mm-hmm. Hey, one of our bosses here at Title 24 was wondering, Chase Sexton seemed to fix his Supercross crashing problems. He had quite a few mistakes outdoors last year. Could the Supercross fix move to motocross? You want to take that?
I'm gonna say yes. I do. I think he's in a whole different headspace currently, and not because he just won the Supercross championship. I think it was leading into that, prior to that. Like, we've referenced this, I don't know, maybe 10 times on the show already, about him, like you have, Ricky, of him focusing on the last 10 minutes of his racing, of the races in Supercross versus the first 10. A lot of guys, we need to sprint, we need to get up, we need to get out, we need to break away. But then what do they do at the end of the moto? And I think that's where that was Chase's biggest deal was it wasn't that he had a first or second or third lap crash. It was always a bit into the motos when there was a bit of a lull. So yeah, Washougal, we're watching a replay of Washougal. Eli goes down and Chase comes in and runs him over. So I do think Chase is going to fix it. There's another one pushing the front. I just think Chase is in a different headspace right now, and I got to think the bike is substantially better is a bit better than last year. Every year they keep making these things a bit better. They work on little issues.
There's Iron Man. Watching some videos, some replays of Sexton and having some wobbles, but then also looking extremely well on the bike.
To me, every one of these, Ricky, every one of these mistakes, they're so very similar. And then also to me, to me, watching looks like a brain fart because there's nothing really, you can't say, oh man, he got kicked here and he wasn't expecting that kick. It's like they all look very similar, and I think he's got that problem fixed. I do.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm already, hey, it wouldn't be like us. I mean, we haven't had a lot of drama on the show today, but I'm just going to go ahead for our followers, our listeners and our viewers. I'm going to throw this out there, and I know it's early. Okay. And then I'm giving these guys some bait, but what I want to see, if Jett comes out swinging and these two are close, the mind game of what this championship is going to be like is going to be epic. One guy trying to better the next guy, and who's going to be able to manage that mentally, and who's going to be the best guys all 11 races. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it does, that's why I want to get ahead of the ball. And you hear it here first on Title 24 is like, this could be happening. And I love watching that mental aspect of it.
I think you're right. I do think you're right. What the crazy part is we're not dealing with like Jett, for example. We're not dealing with a kid that's moving up to a 450 class that you can see is going to make a ton of mistakes. Like looking at him on paper and the maturity of the way he rides and how much that both of them, Hunter and Jett, but Jett, think about what's happening during the race. I think that, yes, if they're in a position and they're close racing, dude, that's going to get gnarly, I think, because Jett's not an average 19-year-old kid as a racer mentally. I think he's much older than that. So it's going to be epic to see.
Yeah. So it's going to be, I'm so looking forward to it. I hope it pans out, but nevertheless, hey, they gave us a lot to talk about after each and every Supercross. I expect nothing less. Hey guys, everyone tuning in, that even though there's a lot of guys out, there's a lot to look forward to in the 450 class, but that 250 class is going to be absolutely epic. And you watch those guys from like 5 to 10, there's going to be a lot of swapping and a lot of back and forth and a lot of inconsistencies, but that's going to be compelling to watch, and who's going to be the guy that takes it to the next level. So they're going to give us something to talk about next week. I know they will. Always. I can't wait. No doubt. So, hey, this weekend is a massive, massive weekend on NBC. It all starts Thursday with SMX Insider available on YouTube. Then Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern on Peacock. The motocross season begins out in California at Pala Fox Raceway. It's going to be epic. We just gave you all the goods, and keep your eyes peeled on what we talked about. There will be a post-race show on YouTube following the race. On Sunday, it's the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500. First pre-race show starts at 9 a.m. Eastern on Peacock. Then at 11 a.m., it moves over to NBC before the green flag at noon. And this does not even count F1 at Monaco in the morning. Oh, I can't wait for that. And then NASCAR Coke 600 in Charlotte that evening. Man, I'm going to be posted up, bro. I ain't on the road. I'm going to be tuned in, my man. Ain't no cycling. No, we ain't running that day. It's going to be a couch and a couple adult beverages, probably. That's right. That's right. Hey, everyone, please subscribe wherever you download or watch your podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave your comments. And, of course, you can always watch us on Motorsports on NBC YouTube page, of course, Peacock as well, and that's on demand. And then your favorite podcast applications like we already talked about. We appreciate all the love that you guys give us. And, of course, our partners, United Motorsports, Quad Lock Case, and Boxo USA. And RV, I want you to be careful out there because I need my partner back to that's right. I gotta try to keep up with. Yeah, I know. I got to try to keep up with Damon, man. He's, Bradshaw. He's an animal on that T7. I can tell you. Don't take the bait and keep the shiny side up and send us some content, dude. That's right. I will. I'll do my best. With the service. Surprisingly, we got very good service at the hotel, but I have a feeling that as soon as we get off the main roads, it's over. Well, it's cocktail hour over there for sure. It's 5 o'clock, so I'm gonna let you go. And we will see everyone next week here again on Title 24. Thank you for listening and watching.
Hi, folks. Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.